What's going on, guys? Austin here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Extra Points Week 10 updated awards. So far, the league MVP is Lamar Jackson himself. He's completing 65% of his passes. He is averaging 351 total yards per game. That's 75 rushing and whatever 351 minus 75 is passing. So he's on pace for a total of 1,200 rushing yards by game 16, which I don't know if that beats his record from 2 years ago, but I know it gets pretty darn close. He has 15 total touchdowns and 9 total turnovers, which isn't a great number. But what he's doing is he's getting his team in positions to win. There's a reason why he's the MVP. It's not the offensive player of the year. I don't think he would necessarily be is high for me on that award, but he has them at a 6-2 record. Their 2 losses have been really weird losses, one in overtime to the Raiders and one where they just got the brakes beat off him by the Bengals. He's got 3 14-plus point comebacks in to win a game this year. I honestly don't think it's close. He has to do so much. The rest of his team is honestly just awful. I'm right there. You see on deck, I've got Aaron Rodgers second, Matthew Stafford third, Jonathan Taylor fourth, and Kyler Murray had to take a bump down 2 weeks ago. If you would have asked me, he would have been number 1. But seeing the Arizona Cardinals go to San Francisco and beat the hell out of them without Kyler, DeAndre, AJ Green, and Chase Edmonds, it kind of has to bump him down. My non-quarterback MVP right now is Jonathan Taylor. Now, normally I would have Derrick Henry here. Derrick Henry's stats are slightly better than Jonathan Taylor's, especially on a per-game basis. However, Derrick Henry is going to miss the rest of the season. If the season ended today, I would have given the award to Derrick Henry. But because Derrick Henry didn't play last week, Jonathan Taylor did, and now we're moving forward. Jonathan Taylor is the current non-quarterback MVP. He's totaled up 1,114 total scrimmage yards, 19 touchdowns, 58 first downs. All of these are either at the top of the league or number 2. You can see there when they were losing games in their 3-game slide to open the season, and in the one loss later to Tennessee, he was averaging 83 total yards per game. And in all of their wins, he's averaging 145. He's clearly the most important offensive piece, at least outside of the quarterback, but that's the point of this award. He's averaging 5.9 yards per rush, which is just outrageous. He has 3 of the 4 longest runs of the season, and he has the Colts at a 4-5 record, which isn't great, but that's what you get when you got a lot of injuries to start the season. After him is going to be TJ Watt, Jamar Chase, and Myles Garrett in that order, I would say, for non-quarterback MVP. In terms of defensive player of the year, TJ Watt, he does everything. He's got 15 sacks in 7 games. That average leads the league, and he's only half a sack behind Myles Garrett. He's got 4 pass breakups, which is great for somebody of his size. He's got a couple more deflections, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries, all of which did not happen on the same play. So he forced 3 fumbles that were recovered 3 times by other players, and he recovered 2 fumbles that were forced by other players. He has 34 total tackles, 18 quarterback hits, and 11 tackles for loss, which are all top 3, so 2 or 3 somewhere in the league. On deck, second place is going to be Trayvon Diggs. He still leads the league in interceptions by a wide margin, but he slowed down the last couple of weeks. We'll see if he can't keep it up, get it up to maybe 10 or 11 interceptions by the time the season ends. Myles Garrett, who has TJ Watt one-upped in a couple of these stats, probably like sacks and quarterback hits, but he certainly doesn't have the wide array of total stats. Jalen Ramsey, just for being the most dominant cornerback in the league, and Darius Leonard, he's a tackling machine. He's everywhere. He's forcing fumbles. He's in the backfield. He's breaking up passes, basically doing the same thing that TJ Watt is doing, but without getting to the quarterback as much. My offensive player of the year is Cooper Kupp. He leads the league in almost everything. He leads the league in receptions, yards, touchdowns, yards after the catch. He's second, but he's only second by like 35 yards, I think it is, something like that, and first downs. He's just absolutely dominating this year, even though they had a terrible game against Tennessee on Sunday Night Football. On deck is the stat pattern himself, Tom Brady, Jonathan Taylor, our non-quarterback MVP, Deebo Samuel, who's actually having the second best receiving season so far this year, and Austin Eckler, who's just doing an amazing job for the Chargers through the air and on the ground. Our comeback play of the year, this one's pretty obvious. Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow's second, and it's not a bad second, but Dak Prescott's just having a better season than Joe is. Dak is completing 69% of his passes. He's passing for 292 yards a game. You can see that right there. The touchdown to interception ratio is really great. 108 passer rating, anything over 100 is something that you really like to have. Dak is 5-2, and the Cowboys are 1-0 without him, but that was a really weird game in Minnesota. On deck, like I said, Joe Burrow, he's having a great season, just not quite as good yet. Derwin James, he's doing phenomenal. I'm so glad that he's healthy. He's one of my favorite defensive players to watch in the league. Ezekiel Elliott on the Cowboys, and Carson Wentz, who weren't necessarily hurt last year. They just weren't good, you know. My defensive rookie of the year, another Dallas Cowboy, unfortunately. This is somebody who I kind of wanted to see the Lions trade back in draft, although I'm happy that they have not Rashawn Slater, but Penei Sewell. But Micah Parsons, he's got 5 sacks, 2 pass breakups, 52 tackles, 14 quarterback hits, 10 tackles for loss. I'm pretty sure all of those lead all rookie linebackers. None of them lead the league, obviously, but I mean, you can see he's just doing a little bit of everything. He's everywhere, all over the field. In second place, I have Asante Samuel Jr., who's playing cornerback extremely well for a rookie. Gregory Rousseau, the defensive end that went to Buffalo, I'm a huge fan of his. Jason Way, who just kind of seems to be filling in for all the holes that Baltimore has on defense. And then Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who's a really good linebacker as well. The offensive rookie of the year is Jamar Chase. I think everyone's saying it's Jamar Chase by a lot. I think it's just Jamar Chase by a little, because Mac Jones is having a fantastic season. Now, last year what happened is Justin Jefferson had a fantastic season and Justin Herbert had a fantastic season. And they ended up giving it to Justin Herbert because Justin Herbert just broke a few more records than Justin Jefferson did. But right now, Jamar Chase seems to be edging out Mac Jones for that category. He's got 44 receptions and a whopping 835 yards, which is good for 19 yards per catch, which is by far the most for anybody with 44 receptions. He's got 7 touchdowns, 29 first downs. Those are all top 5 in the league, I'm sure. And, you know, we talked about Mac Jones being second. He's having a really great season. Najee Harris is coming into his own. Rashawn Slater, I think offensive linemen don't get included in these conversations enough. And Rashawn Slater is having a fantastic season at left tackle for the San Diego Chargers. San Diego, I said it on purpose. And Kyle Pitts, the tight end, he's more of a boomer bust guy, but he's still having some pretty good games for the Atlanta Falcons. And then my coach of the year is Brandon Staley. He's got the Chargers in a 5-3 start to this first half of the season. You know, some ugly losses like to the Bengals, a nasty loss to the Patriots, and a really, really good loss to the Cowboys. But he's got them first place in the AFC West. They're the number 3 passing defense. Their run defense has, you know, it's leaving some to be desired, but they've got 10 takeaways. They've got a positive differential. They have the 13th fewest penalties in the league, which is, you know, it's just good for top half. And they're projected to get 10.5 wins. I think they can get more than that, because if they go 5-3 in their first 8 games, I think the games should get easier because they still have 2 games left against Denver, which presumably they win both of those. You kind of got to pencil those in. But on deck is Mike Vrabel, who just got his first win without Derrick Henry of this season, and it was a fantastic win against the Rams. Bill Belichick, who quietly has the Patriots contending for first place in the AFC East. And then Sean Payton, who's doing a really good job of keeping the Saints viable in the absence of Drew Brees and in the absence of a lot of players that had to get cut for salary cap considerations this year. All right, guys, thanks for watching that video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know who you have for these awards, and be sure to be on the lookout for our other videos coming out this week.